All right, good evening, internet world. So tonight, instead of writing a blog post, I decided to do a video. I'm going to show you guys where I paint and maybe give you guys some ideas of where you might be able to paint and create, and show you that it's not a huge area, it's a very small area, so there's a lot you can do with a little bit of space. So first, let me show you, I started off painting in my dining room. I actually still paint in my dining room, but I painted at the table, and the thing that I disliked about that is that when we wanted to eat dinner, I had to pick up all my stuff and move it, and then when I wanted to paint again, I had to get it out. It was kind of inconvenient, and wasn't as conducive to creating as this area that I have now. The area I have now, my husband bought this table for me a couple years ago for Christmas, and it's still, again, in my dining room, but it's really a nice setup for me. It's not very big, but it works great. So let me just show you a couple things. So I have my paper here. This is the paper I use mostly. It's Arches, and it's really nice, high quality paper. Down here there's some student grade papers and some books, for learning about watercoloring. And these are all convenient. There's also little boards that I use for small paintings to tape things on that I've just made out of cardboard and packing tape. Masking tape, because I use a ton of that. On this side there is my acrylic paints. I don't paint with acrylics very often, but my kids do a lot more of that. Signs and posters for school or whatever, so that's there and they know that they can use it. And there's a few things that I use in there, some markers and stuff, but not a lot. Up here on my table there's two drawers. The first drawer has all my paint in it, organized by color, and it was originally just a fabric bottom, and so I used some foam board and made these dividers so that I could divide it up, and this helps, in the middle of a painting if I don't keep my paints out, so I'm not searching through like a whole shoebox full of paint. Over here is the other drawer. This one has, so there's my acrylic brushes. The kids have some different ones, ruler and stuff, pencils for drawing and whatever. And then over here is just kind of some miscellaneous stuff. There's erasers there, and then in the very back some travel cases that I take with me on basketball trips or to Anchorage or wherever we're going together, so that I can paint if I want to. Up here on the right, so I'm right-handed, so a lot of this stuff is on the right-hand side. The paints that are in my palette. So right now I'm taking a class, and these are the colors that are being used in the class, so they're all here so that I don't have to go back to that drawer, and that's what's in my palette, so when I run out here I don't have to go searching. This is a spritzer bottle I use. I love this for getting the paper wet. If it's a huge area, I can spritz the area, but mostly I use this for moistening my paints when they are starting to get dry or when I start to paint. Right now, as you can see, these are very dry because I haven't painted since yesterday, but about 5 minutes after I spritz it, it'll be ready to work with. Toothpick here, and this is used for the masking fluid. I have several things I use. I use the palette knife, the toothpick and stuff, and this is for keeping my reference photos up on the wall. My paintbrushes, these are the paintbrushes I mainly use. I do a lot of detail stuff, so there's a lot of little ones, a few big ones, and they're very conveniently located. These are paintbrushes. These are also watercolor paintbrushes that I use sometimes, but not as often, like the big wash brushes and things like that. I do have, this is actually an acrylic brush, but I use it for dabbing and wiping and removing paint from my paper. The palette, this is a ceramic palette. I love it. It's easy to keep clean, and the paints, I don't like to have residue, so this works really well. This is the first water jug. It's just for rinsing my brush, and it stays in the front because it's the one that you go to most often, and I don't want to get my paint in this one. I also have paper so that I can check the colors as I'm mixing here. I can check it here before I actually put it on my picture. This water jug is for clean washes for watercolor, so when I want to put down clear water, I use this one and I move it forward, and then when I'm done, I will end up with dirty water in both of them. So whenever I finish a painting, I try to put another painting out. I like this stuff. It's Gator board. I can staple to it. I like to stretch my paper because I don't like the ripples that are associated with watercolor. So the Gator board works great, but like I said, you can do cardboard with packing tape if you don't want to do some. These are more expensive. This side is really just a big catch-all. I have pads of paper that I take with me when I travel. These are more student grade, but I don't usually take the nicer paper with me because usually it's just doodles and things like that. And then I usually put my reference photos here. I have a daylight bulb over my work table. I used to have a yellow one, but I kind of like the daylight one better as far as paint colors. And then if you read my blog post a few weeks ago, my goal for the week or for the year or for however long I want it to be is here so that I see it every day. But that's my paint area, and I enjoy the fact that it's always set up and that all I have to do is just come and sit down and I'm ready to go. I hope this helped you guys, and I hope you guys have spaces where you can create and they're convenient for you. So I'll see you later.